Hello, welcome to the show. My name is Jacob Davidson, and I'm a legal layman in North Texas. In this show, where I try to learn the law and educate while I'm learning. I had a late start because I was hungry and I wanted to eat the food without chewing on the mic. So, there we go. And I know I did a stream yesterday, but I was an idiot and I forgot about a certain portion of the stream yesterday. And I just wanted to say, uh, Happy Memorial's Day. Anybody who lost anybody, I hope that they are well remembered in your lives and you never forget them. And you honor their memory through the rest of your life. I luckily have had a friend who's now out of that situation, so I don't have to worry so much about them. However, you guys, anyone who lost anybody, you guys can't enjoy your friend or family again. So, I realized I forgot to say that because I was entrenched mentally in the fucking impeachment bullshit, which is of no consequence in relations to Memorial Day. I hate that. I'm trying to open up the fucking chat. No, don't take me there. Alright, I should post the link. What a weird way of being, hey, like, fuck you guys, come and join my chat. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking basically almost exclusively about Texas. Yes, peace. Oh. All right. So yeah, most of the news I'm going to be talking about today is a bunch of Texas, and further Texas. And at the very end, it's going to end up with Uganda, However, that still ties into Texas because Ted Cruz talked about it. Who is a senator for Texas. Hmm. You're missing the W. There you go. I need to find the Ted Cruz tweet. All right, so I found the tweet. Let us start with the first topic. Also, how are you guys doing? I know it's gonna be a weird week now that Ricketa's on vacation, so we don't have our nighttime fun and show and drinking and laughing and hooting and hollering. However, we have the news, and I can present it. Texas lawmakers set timeline for Attorney General Ken Paxton's impeachment trial. Let's start here. I think I like it here. The impeachment trial of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will begin no later than August 28th. Lawmakers said Monday, teeing up the first such proceedings in nearly a half century. Texas Republican-led House voted to impeach Paxton on Saturday after a state ethics panel recommended he be removed from following a long investigation into abuse of office. The move came after investigators presented a slate of alleged misdeeds, including bribery, retaliation against staffers, and misuse of his position to help a political ally. I have a question, actually, suddenly in mind. Texas Senate seats. So if each district is a seat, Texas is composed of 31 members who represent 31 separate geological districts. So 20 of them need... Yeah. Two, 4, 4, 8, 12, 15, 15, 15. No. Yeah, 15 and then 16. Secretary of the Senate, Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Governor. Oh, our guy's Hancock. Nice. So that's what the county is for. The counties are the Senate. Okay. So if the Republicans of the House impeached him, 1, 2, 3, move these two. That's a whole 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And the Democrats make up 2, 4. Alright, I miscounted. So 18 of them. Will the page read it? Nah. Alright, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Alright, so whatever's not the 19 Democrat or Republicans is the remaining Democrats. And because my brain is shut right now and I'm not doing the math mentally, the 12 remaining, there's 12 remaining positions, and those would all have to be Democrats. So the Texas Senate would have to have every Republican agree. Well, almost half of the Texas Senate Republicans agree that the evidence presented is enough to impeach. Like, win the conviction of impeachment. A committee of 7, my bad, including bribery, yeah. A committee of 7 state senators will meet next month to adopt a slate of rules for the impeachment proceedings. A dozen lawmakers from the state house will make the case to their colleagues that Paxton abused his office. It is unclear if Paxton's wife, State Senator Angela Paxton R., will recuse herself from the proceedings. We will manage this process with the weight of and reverence it deserves and requires State Representative Andrew Murr, the chairman of the House investigation, told reporters Monday he did not comment on if Paxton's wife would participate in the trial. Wait, Paxton. Oh, that's a problem. If Paxton recuses herself, I wonder if it would change the 2/3 majority from like 21 votes yes or no to, or 21 votes yes to 20 votes yes to get the impeachment. Yeah, wrong page. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton speaks to reporters in front of U.S. Supreme Court in Washington. Oh, that's just the picture. Paxton, a longtime ally of former President Donald Trump, has lambasted the effort as a political attack and denied any wrongdoing, vowing to vehemently defend himself during the impeachment trial. It's unclear who will represent him. The ugly spectacle in the House today confirmed the outrageous impeachment plot against me was never meant to be fair or just, he said in a statement on Saturday. It was a politically motivated sham from the beginning. Paxton has been suspended from his official duties while the trial moves forward. His top deputy, Brent Webster, is currently leading his office in the interim, although Texas Governor Greg Abbott will be required to name a more formal temporary replacement. It is a monumental episode in Texas politics and a moment of reckoning for the state's Republican majority. Only 2 other officials have been impeached and removed from office in state history, and the latest was 50 years ago, according to the Dallas Morning News. Investigation into Paxton's behavior began in March after the Attorney General reached a $3.3 million settlement with former staffers that sued him, saying they were fired in retaliation after accusing him of crimes. Paxton asked the Texas legislature to fund the agreement, but lawmaker balked at the request and said there wasn't enough explanation to why the state should foot the bill. Paxton has attacked Fallon, the Texas House Speaker, in recent days, accusing him of being drunk during a session last week. I mean, to Paxton's credit, the guy looks like he would drink on the job. I don't like this comment. You know, it's bad when you big homo gay? Yeah, poopy butthole. Yeah, I'm big homo gay. But what about you, poopy butthole? Are you big homo gay? Yeah, that's a dumb question. You obviously are big homo gay. Why are you gay? So yeah, Paxton's certainly gonna have a fun time. So August is in 2 months. 2 months without a job for Paxton. That's gonna be fun. On to the next story. The regular Texas legislative session started with a record budget surplus and ended with an impeached attorney general. Aha. The legislative session started with a $32.7 billion surplus. It was mired in Republican infighting and multiple scandals. Then the House impeached the state's attorney general. I will say, if you started off with basically too much money, and you end off with getting an official, the first steps of removing an official from office, yeah, it's kind of a fun session, don't you think? Texas is really doing stuff. With a high budget. All right, so lawmakers entered into 2023 predicting a historic legislative session, one in which they had $32.7 billion budget surplus to spend and a host of conservative priorities to rally around. On Monday, they indeed gavelled out a historic session, perhaps not for the reasons on Monday, they indeed gavelled out a historic session, but perhaps not for the reason that they expected. Flailing legislative negotiations about the property taxes and school choice were overshadowed by Texas House overwhelmingly voting to impeach embattled Attorney General Paxton. Big homo gay man says, oh, oh, oh. And as both chambers gavelled out Monday, House Speaker Dade Fellon confirmed that at least one more round of lawmaking in form of special session called by Greg Abbott was essentially guaranteed. I also expected to have proclamation from the governor in the next 12 hours, so I would not pack your bags just yet, he said. Sure enough, Abbott made it official Monday night, calling an immediate special session to focus on property taxes and border issues. Abbott also said that multiple special sessions would be required with a few items to be considered in each special session. Just 3 of the priority items Abbott urged action on early in the regular session are poised to make it to his desk as a swath of conservative measures fell victim to Republican infighting between the two chambers. Instead, the normal day of ceremony to mark the end of the grueling 140 days of lawmaking, Monday was unusually eventful. Both chambers and governors of office spent hours going back and forth to try and hash out a deal on property taxes. Then the House appointed 12 representatives to a board of managers to prosecute the case against Paxton. The dozen representatives walked across the Capitol to the Senate, where they delivered articles of impeachment to the Senate. Before the Senate gavelled out, the chamber's secretary announced that 7 appointed senators would return June 20th to discuss rules for impeachment proceedings, and that the trial would begin before the end of August. I'm going to need to work extra hard in August, because I'm going to probably try and take the days off for the Ken Paxton trial. You can speak. Yeah, it's typically a trial would be like a year out, but this is a special trial for a guy in office. Yeah, I know, but this is happening after that. When it comes to policy, lawmakers failed to strike a deal to reduce property taxes. An effort to increase the state's law enforcement presence at the border collapsed. They couldn't find a school voucher plan palatable to both Abbott and a House majority, nor did they increase teacher salaries during the unprecedented teacher shortage. The faculty tenure still exists at Texas's public universities despite Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's best efforts. That dude was hammered like Paul Pelosi. Oh, fuck. The conservative majority did vote to ban puberty blockers and hormone treatments for transgender children. Indoctrinated transgender children. They provided state money for loans to upgrade or build a new gas-fueled power plants. They struck a deal to make voting when ineligible punishable as a felony, and eliminated offices that focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, that was pretty good. On public college campuses. They also toughened criminal penalties for people who sell fentanyl. Each of these measures has been sent to the governor's office and is poised to become law. There were also bipartisan victories made possible in part by all that available state money. Lawmakers voted to create a $3 billion endowment fund for a group of public universities, earmarked $1 billion for water infrastructure improvements, and allocate $1.5 billion to expand broadband internet across the state. Community colleges saw an infusion of more than $650 million, and as the state overhauled how to fund two-year schools. But the regular session was marked by scandals and bickering throughout. Over the last 5 months, the House expelled one of its own members, former Royce City Representative Brian Slatton. After an investigation determined he provided alcohol to a 19-year-old aide and had sex with her. Attorney General Ken Paxton called for the resignation of House Speaker Dade Fellon, suggesting that a video of him presiding over the House during a marathon late night session showed him drunk. Fallon has not commented on the video. I mean, if he's drunk, that's actually an impeachable offense, so I think the speaker should be a little worried that that the House might go, you know, if we're gonna start like really going in on accountability, maybe the speaker should be like a little impeached. He should be a little worried if he was in fact drunk. The same day, the House revealed that it had been investigating Paxton for months on allegations of bribery and exhibiting a years-long pattern of law-breaking and ethical lapses. And then, a regular session climaxed with the impeachment of Paxton, despite a last-minute objection from President Donald Trump. I mean, I wouldn't actually expect anything from Trump to actually work here, because, like, he's not in Texas, and even if he was president at the time, like, it's a federal guy going, hey, state, don't do the thing that you're about to do. It's like, okay. How about we do it anyway? How is he gonna stop it? It's no wonder people seem to forgot Georgetown Senator Charles Schwertner was arrested on suspicions of drunk driving a mere 3 months ago. Who the fuck is Charles Schwertner? All the infighting scandal leaves considerable unfinished business, in addition to the special session. A trial in the Senate over Paxton's political future looms on the horizon. This session, if you would have told me it would have been more if you would have told me it would be even more interesting and more challenging than last session, I would not have believed you, Fallon told House members Monday. But it has been. It's been a very interesting, challenging session, not just for the Texas House, but for the state of Texas. What happened this week was nothing I take pride in. It's not anything I was proud of, but it was necessary. It was just. The Texas House spoke, and we sent a strong message for the future of Texas. Divisions and differences. At the center of this session's tumult was the tenuous relationship between the leaders of the two chambers, Patrick and Fallon. When Patrick laid out his dirty legislative priorities in the Senate before the start of the session, he called them the strongest, most conservative agenda ever. On it were bills that would prevent transgender college students from playing in sports teams that correspond with their gender identity, ban gender-affirming medical care for trans youth, and prohibit minors from attending drag shows. Fallon offered a different set of priorities, expanding Medicaid for new mothers and exempting sales tax for items like diapers and tampons. He threw support behind bills that required tech companies that gave parents access to a minor's privacy and account settings that would limit the collection of the minor's data. He sought to bolster school safety and overhaul how state funds its community colleges. The upper chambers spent first few months promptly moving Patrick's priorities through, largely along party lines. Patrick groused, meanwhile, that the House wasn't moving fast enough. Sending that many bills that late means most will die due to the clock, he said on social media. Not our fault, help us help you. And it soon became clear that there were even stark policy difference on the issue that both chambers wanted to address: how to control property taxes paid by Texas homeowners. House Republicans wanted to lower by half the state's cap on how much homes' taxable value can grow each year, and extend the benefits to businesses, an idea Senate Republicans rejected. The banner idea set GOP tax cut writers proposed was to boost the state's homestead exemption on school district taxes, or the chunk of homes value that can't be taxed to pay for public schools. Disagreement started to play out on television and social media. Patrick took a page from Trump and called Fallon by name on television, dubbing the lifelong Beaumont resident California Dade. In response, Felon posted a social media shirtless photo of himself flanked by 2 surfboards, flashed his abs, and a smile. Stoked for some tasty waves on the Texas coast this summer after hashtag Tex Ledge hits its gnarly sign die. Sin idea? But the common ground between Republicans with common grounds between 2 Republicans hard to find a topic like tax cuts, finding it a contentious issue like school choice seemed nearly impossible. The House has long resisted programs to give parents state money to pay for private school tuition or homeschooling expenses, as Democrats and rural Republicans fear that they would siphon funds away from public schools. The public schools do not need the money. Give it to the parents. They do better with it. Fuck off. This year, Abbott put his full weight behind the issue, crisscrossing the state to drum up support for the idea. Senate quickly compiled voting in early April to send to the House the bill that would allow parents to spend up to $8,000 on their kid. Hey guys, how you doing? Just give me a moment. I got something. Hopefully nothing too important. Just mail from the DMV. Did I? May, June, July. Oh. My vehicle registration's about to expire, basically. Is it too late to burn down the government? I think that's preferable. So yeah. Spend up to $8,000 on their kids' private schooling each year. But that same night, House voted by 86 to 52 in favor of an amendment on the budget bill to ban education savings account. Yeah, that was fucking gay. That was... Thanks, House. Really like that one from you. Fucking dicks. What? What? What do you gotta say? What do you gotta say? Fuck the public schooling system, dude. It's shit. The measure never stood a chance of being written into law, but it signaled that House's deep skepticism on the issue. House Public Education Committee Chair Brad Buckley tried rewriting the bill twice to tone it down, restrict eligibility, and make it more palatable to a skeptical House. Before Buckley could get his committee to vote on the second version, Abbott expressed his disapproval, and the bill was doomed. Abbott promised to call lawmakers back later this year to try again. In a last-ditch effort, the Senate tried attaching a school voucher program onto House bill that would have sent $4.5 billion in additional funding to schools, paying for teachers' raises, among other things. That failed too. Yeah. Fuck the teachers if we can't have private vouchers. Fuck them. Taking the raises and school funds, down with it. Okay. A sudden impeachment. With special sessions on vouchers seemingly inevitable, lawmakers, lobbyists, and political watchers seemed ready for an anticlimactic end to the session. But then things started to get interesting on May 23rd. The sixth day left in the session, Paxton called on Felon to resign, citing a video of Felon slurring his words after a long night on the dais. Paxton said Felon was presiding over the House in a state of apparent debilitating intoxication. His conduct has negatively impacted the legislative process and constitutes a failure to live up to his duty to the public, Paxton wrote. Mere hours later, the House General Investigative Committee revealed that it had been investigating Paxton's alleged misconduct since mid-March. Committee members said that they opened the investigation when Paxton requested $3.3 million in taxpayer dollars to settle a whistleblower lawsuit brought against him by former aides he'd fired after they'd accused him of bribery. Felon supporters said that the investigation was clearly the motivation for Paxton's attack. A day later, the majority Republican committee spent 3 hours laying out the findings. Paxton may have committed at least 3 felonies in an effort to help a donor, Austin real estate investor Nate Paul, with various legal troubles. The committee's investigators said these include spending $72,000 in staff labor in tasks that benefited the developer, providing Paul with an internal FBI file related to an investigation into Paul, and hiring an outside lawyer for $25,000 to conduct work that primarily benefited Paul. The panel voted to recommend impeachment, and 3 days later, the impeachment proceedings reached the House floor. Hardline conservative supporters of Paxton lashed out, accusing Felon of being a liberal and letting Democrats push the proceedings. Trump and U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican for Texas, spoke out against the efforts. Abbott has remained silent on the issue. Because I think the guy might realize that if he starts going like, yeah, Paxton, next time he tries to get all goody-goody with Felon when he tries to bring his voucher program back into play, he'll be like, you know, you sided with Paxton whenever he called me a drunkard in the house. How about I just rally everybody against you, you fucker? Might be how that worked out. I don't know. Felon might use more eloquent words, but the tone is still the same in my mind. After more than 4 hours of debate and discussion, the House voted 121 to 23 in favor of impeachment. The margin among Republicans was 60 to 23 in favor. It was the first time a Texas Attorney General had been impeached. We're almost done with the article. Looking forward, the impeachment vote happened with 2 days left in the regular session and just a few hours before a key deadline for House and Senate members to negotiate the difference between the bills passed both chambers. With attention elsewhere, the deadline passed before several major priority bills could be ironed out. School vouchers had been doomed for days, but agreements proved elusive on a new economic incentive program favored by Abbott. A measure to shore up the energy grid pushed by Patrick, a border security issue desired by them all, or those pesky tax cuts. Yeah, let's cut the fucking taxes. What the fuck? How was that so hard to agree on? On Sunday, the two chambers made one or more attempts to play nice. They set aside the rules and came to an agreement that on the grid bill and economic incentives, sending them to Abbott even though the deals were inked more than 18 hours past the supposed deadline. As night fell, talks spread around the capital about a similar deal on property taxes. Fallon's spokesperson even tweeted out a photo of House negotiators signing an agreement. But the signature never came into the Senate, and frustrated leaders of the two chambers adjourned after 10:30 p.m. That left only Monday, but little changed. Around 5:30 that evening, nearly 6 hours after the legislature typically declares that the regular session is over, Patrick signaled that the Senate was no longer interested in negotiating when he sent a public letter to Abbott, alerting him that many important issues affecting Texans died in the Texas House. He urged the governor to add a long list of bills to a special session. When the House gavelled out less than an hour later, it was with the assumption that Abbott will be calling them back soon to finish their business. California Dade's surfing trip will likely have to wait. I like that finishing line. I don't typically chuckle out of an article, but I will give credit. That was pretty great. That was pretty good. I like that. Who wrote this? I gotta say something about that finisher because that was great. It was a little frustrating. I've been for the school voucher thing for a while now. So for the House to butt pass that off as nothing and then literally remove it was very frustrating. I wanted to commit impeachment on the House. 80 to 30 something. That was a fucking stupid amount. $86 to 20 to 52. Like, could you vote in our interest, please? That would be great. Tuesday morning, Lieutenant Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Gamma used speech before a think tank to criticize House Speaker Dade Fallon and promote his preferred approach to property taxes. I mean, that's how you do it, huh? When was this article posted? Dated 17 hours ago on May 29th. So a lot more than 2 hours ago. There we go. I'm gonna click this article. See. Same. Yeah. I found it very pleasing how that turned out. High credit to the brain power does that. Yeah, all right. High credit to the brain power that pinned this finishing joke in the article. I had a good chuckle. A good chuckle. Poopy Butthole, you still there? You being gay in locals? If I see Southern Anarchist, that's how I'll know. South Anarchist. I have a 6-hour drive. Charles Schwerter, Texas Senator. Why is the Senator for Business and Commerce drunk driving? So to bring it back, the article mentioned that Charles Schwertner, yeah, was drunk driving, and that we just completely forgot about it. That was funny. So I'm bringing this article up in question because, not because I have anything against it, but I actually thought, you know what? If I could help put some more eyes on this thing and give it some love and attention, I think that's a good idea. Fairmount Group tries to bring shuttered library back to life. A sign reads, Fairmont Library missing an L outside of the Fairmont Community Library, 1310 West Allen Avenue. Supporters of the Fairmont Community Library plan to reopen the building with the help of donors and volunteers. In the heart of Fairmont neighborhood, a community library sits with its doors closed and its insides as tattered as a much loved book. Once the Fairmont Community Library at 1310 West Allen Avenue, the place offered activities beyond books, Scrabble nights, food drives, poetry nights, and live music. The neighborhood library quickly became a staple in the community when its doors opened in the early 2000s, but it closed in 2014 as the leadership team moved on. In 2015, a new team rebranded and opened the library as Fairmont County Community Library. In 2019, the library closed for renovations, which were planned to last only a few months, but the pandemic made the closure much longer than expected. The library's board president, Alicia Bohannon, said, "Still, the nonprofit plans to continue to write its story." In a social media post, Near South Side Incorporation announced a PayPal fundraiser to get the library back on its feet. So far, the efforts has received just over $1,100. It's not like we have an unlimited time. It's not like we have unlimited time either. And so some of the things, it was really nice. It's not like we have unlimited time either, and some of the things, it was really nice to reach out to the community and get that support, Bohannon said. And right now, that's the kind of space we're living in. Maybe we're trying to transition after almost 10 years into having a different and more board members. The library, which plans to offer more than 600 books to check out on a subscription model, has set a goal of reopening later this year if it raises its fundraising goal of $4,000. The money it will be used to redo the floors inside the 4 rooms at the community library, Bohannon said. The library has operated on a budget of about $20,000 a year, she said, but with that, the involvement of the community shines. I think we were really able to do some pretty amazing things, particularly because whatever we were doing, it seems like we always had the back of the neighborhood, Bohannon said. It was almost like every time we put something on between the volunteers and the community or whatever, it wasn't really costing the library that much money. For Bohannon, the Fairmount is something out of a fairy tale. The day she moved to the neighborhood from Louisville in 2014, a neighbor offered her basil out of her home garden, a kindness she never experienced before. Before its 2019 closure, Bohannon aimed to create her own fairy tale story, although not in a book for the community through school supply drives, summer camps, and poetry nights. David Weuste, David Weuste, the director of the communications for the Fairmont Neighborhood Associated, said neighbors want to have the library back. Fairmont does not have a library within walking distance, and as the city continues to remove libraries from within the neighborhoods, there just aren't these sort of free public spaces where communities can come together, was said. So we've been residents asking what's needed to help bring the resources back to life pretty much since it was forced to close. So we've seen residents asking what's needed. Okay. And that's the end of the story. Wow, that was very sudden. I will advocate for this fundraiser. There is a library that needs to be brought back. And there is a fundraiser to bring that back. So, I'm posting the link to YouTube and on Rumble. And I will post this actually on Twitter in just a moment to encourage people to donate to this library. I know that there might be a policy in mind to like check it out and whatnot, but I have a care for this. So, where is this though? Just gonna quickly go here. Oh, good God. All right, that is so far away from anything. So yeah, here's Fairmont County or Fairmount community. It has like 5 streets of a community. Good God, that is small. That's got to be at least like 2,000 people in a community. But yeah, they need their library back. So hopefully we can get that for them. Man, I got slightly involved in some gay internet drama about a fucking book. I cannot understand the problems. The far east edge of Texas. A little place called Fairmount. It's a community library that needs some love, and hopefully we'll get some support. If anyone can, please, without or donate. Hopefully I can find a way to boost this tweet because I think it's kind of important. I personally have an important value or find an importance in a library, especially a public or a community one, because that's actually where I went when I wanted to read in high school. I'm not far away from high school in my current age, but 24, well, I'm a little far from high school now. But I used to go to the public library, which is like half a mile to a mile away from where I live. I would walk there and read for a while and then come back home. Just because I had music, I had a phone, I had headphones, and I could read in a public place undisturbed. So if I could help bring that to some community in the far out stretches of Texas, I would hope that I can. Is that where I thought it was? I might need to edit my tweet. Oh no, my kettle went off. Uh Oh no, fuck. Damn it. I thought it was on the far out edges. It's not. Nah. It's at the heart of Fort Worth. Near. Whoops. I thought it was in Fairmount City for a moment. Then I went and checked the link or checked the address and was like, whoops, not really. Thank God for feature assets. Oh. Wait. All right. So back to the topics because I got distracted. This would probably be more congruent or adjacent to legal mindset. I think he saw the message. No, he did not. So if you're in the DFW area or in Texas and you have enough time on June 1st, you can apply for a passport at USPS Passport Fair in Fort Worth area. To ensure U.S. citizens are prepared to travel, the U.S. Postal Service will be posting passport fairs in Fort Worth, Texas. Appointments are not required, so customers are encouraged to show up early as applicants will be served on a first-come, first-served basis until the applicant maximum capacity has been reached. Due to the unusually large volume of passport customers at all locations, a cutoff time is sometimes necessary when wait times exceed hours of operations. We recommend arriving as early as possible to avoid delays. June 4th, downtown Fort Worth Station on 251 West Lancaster Avenue between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. To obtain passport, applicants need to bring a couple things, and I'm just going to check on what day this lands on because it doesn't say. June the 4th is on a Sunday, so, you know, regular government working days. But before we do that, because I know I started it, but I realized the time in which I'm presenting this. However, you will not need to wait for June 4th to get this. You will just need to wait for the weekend to order, and then when you get your order. Because what you can get instead of a passport is fucking tea. Get the tea. Use code Layman. Sorry. The Dragon's Treasure is a haven for anime and tea lovers. And with code Layman, you can get 10% off of everything that you see. From the Mana Potion, the Sebastian's Morning Earl Grey, which is what I've been drinking. It's a black tea Earl Grey with vanilla cream. Red chocolate cake. I haven't tried this yet, but I really want to. It looks like it might taste good. And the title of it certainly indicates that it might. You can get 10% off the only teas, the Dragon's Wing Ingenuity Strainer. This is just a teaware. You just pour your hot water with the tea in it, and it brews for a moment. You put it on a cup, and it drains it out. You don't have to deal with the loose tea leaves if you have no tea bags. You can get that, all this for 10% off of the purchase at checkout with code Layman. And remember, they now have coffee. And whenever I get that coffee, I'm going to run out pretty much right away because I'm going to be drinking that coffee regularly. I have a need for coffee and I want to be able to get to it. So hopefully I get my Dio coffee when I do.
and it indicates that I might have the power to stop the world, and then it says you might not have the power to stop the world, which sucks. That's what I was wanting out of it. With that said, use code Layman at checkout. Buy my tea. Well, his tea. His tea. Use my code. There we go. I wonder how high this thing gets whenever I try to peek like that. Alright, so to obtain a passport, applicant needs to bring proof of American residency. This must be either certified birth certificate, issued by the city, county, or state, naturalization certificate, a hospital-issued birth certificate alone is not acceptable, consular report of birth abroad, certificate of citizenship, or a previous U.S. passport. Each applicant must bring a clear photocopy of their proof of American citizenship that will be present at the time of passport acceptance. If the document is two-sided, then a photocopy of the front and the back must be provided. Bring proof of identity. This must be either a previous U.S. passport or passport card, certificate of naturalization with identifiable photo, certificate of citizenship with identifiable photo attached, valid driver's license, and a temporary learner's permit. Oh. Official U.S. military or military dependent independent card or identification card. Or DIC. Government employees identification card, federal, state, municipal, county, current valid foreign passport. Each applicant must bring a clear photocopy of their proof of identity that will be presented at the time of the passport acceptance. If the document is two-sided, then photocopy of the back and front must be provided. Passport applicant requires recent color passport photograph of you, a 2x2 in size, and the post office passport office can provide. The post office passport office. To save time, customers may download passport application at USPS.com at passport to complete beforehand. All applicants must appear in person, including minors. Minors under the age of 16 must appear with both parents. If one parent is not available, a notarized authorization from the absent parent is required. Each passport for an adult must be accompanied by a check or money order for $100,000, $110 made payable to the U.S. State Department, and $35 execution fee made payable to postmaster. Fees for children under 16 are $80 and $35. So the U.S. Department, or the execution fee is the same, but the money taken from the government is a little less. The cost to expedite processes at the Department of State is $60 paid per application in addition to required fee. The cost to expedite delivery service is $70.13 paid per application directly to the Department of State for the delivery of an issued passport booked from the Department of State to the customer. This service is only available to the mailing address within the United States and not available for passport cards. Customers can call 1-800-ASK-USPS or go to the Postal Service website, USPS, to get the location of the other nearby passport offices and their passport customer service hours. Passport customers may also check the U.S. State Department website at travel.state.gov to obtain additional information. The Postal Service receives no tax dollars for operating expenses and relies on sales of postage, products, and services to fund its operation. Get fucked, USPS! Can you feel the love tonight? Cease. So that's the Texas passport thing going on. It's fun stuff, you know, just usual. I I I love this next one. I love this next topic. This next topic had me fucking dying, dude. It's fucking incredible. Let me introduce you to the Crown Act. The Crown Act is about hair discrimination. Relating to the discrimination on the basis of hair texture or protective hairstyles associated with race. If you don't know anything about the different hairstyles between racial cultures, from what I have learned, black people have really oily hair. Not only that, they have really frizzy hair. So they've gotten really in tune with the topic and have found out ways to describe this stuff. So hair texture relates to, I guess, the feel of the hair, as is the texture. And protective hairstyles with associated race. Dreadlocks, as a hairstyle, is apparently a protective hairstyle for the hair. I will look this up after the act. However, just from this alone, I know what it's talking about. I also know because I saw the Crown Act and I read it a little bit, and I have to say, they wrote a bill about black people's hairstyles, or hairstyles that black people typically wear. And I say that with chuckles and laughter, but I will say, if you're harassing one of your workers because they have dreadlocks and your workplace, and the dreadlock is within workplace safety and standards, what the fuck are you doing? Are you an idiot? Are you insane? God damn, let them live. Oh, I almost said something wrong. I almost said something bad. Let's get on with it. Section 25902. Prohibition on certain discrimination in student dressing or grooming policy. Section 25A. In this section, protective hairstyles includes braids, locks, and twists. B. Any student dress or grooming policy adopted by a school district, including a student dress or grooming policy for any extracurricular activity, may not discriminate against a hair texture or protective hairstyle commonly or historically associated with race. Section 2. Oh, wait. That was Chapter 25A. Okay. Section 2, Chapter 51, Education Code. It's amended by adding Section 51979 to read as follows. 979 prohibits a... Oh yeah, okay, so it was Chapter 25, 902. Okay. Prohibitions on certain discrimination in student dresses or grooming policy. In this section, institutions of higher education has meaning assigned by section 6103. Protective hairstyles includes braids, locks, and twists. Any student dress or grooming policy adopted by an institution of higher education, including student dress or grooming policy for any extracurricular activity, may not discriminate against the hair texture or protective hairstyle commonly or historically associated with race. Racial discrimination based on hair texture. Okay, so I think I'll try to gloss over the whole protective hairstyles. Like, because I've read it like 3 times already, and it's not very many times. But I'll just say this is the hairstyle clause. Chapter C, section 3's subchapter C, chapter 21, labor code. 21.1095 is the hairstyle protective hairstyle clause. That is A, and B is a provision in this chapter referring to discrimination because of race or on the basis of race includes discrimination because of or on the basis of an employee's hair texture or protective hairstyle commonly historically associated with race. Section C, an employer, labor union, or employment agency commits an unlawful employment practice if the employer, labor union, or employment agency adopts or enforces a dress or groom policy that discriminates. The hairstyle clause. (301) 0045, racial discrimination based on hair texture or protective hairstyle. This is the property code. So all these codes equate to education code. The first one was normal education, like primary schooling. 51 education code is higher education, so colleges and universities. The labor code, 21 is labor code, so I'm guessing workplace. 301 is property code. 301A is the hairstyle clause. A provision in this chapter, other than the provisions in subchapter 1 referring to discrimination based on race or on the basis of race, includes discrimination of the hairstyle. So it adds a hairstyle clause to the race aspect. Section 521, these are unchanged. This act takes effect September 1st, 2023. I love this code. Braids, locks, and twists. All right, so that is the hairstyle clause or hairstyle bill called the Crown Act, which I'll give them credit. It's a good name. Texas drivers. They are not safe. I would know. I drive amongst them every day. And I want to kill every last Texan driver I encounter. I want to kill them so much, man. I hate them. They're so stupid. I had a truck driver, not a trucker guy, but like a pickup truck, speed past me this morning on my way to home. Lane changed 20,000 times without signaling and weaving through traffic like he on the streets. And I cut that bitch off. Fuck him. Also, Texas police drivers are not that better. I'm talking about Hearst Police Department, and I'm looking at you, Unit 27. People must know. Of course, Unit 27, if it's like anything like in what I have experienced with the ambulance company that I worked for, Unit 27 is not the same unit day in and day out. And I will not specify the date in which I'm talking about Unit 27 of the Hearst Police Department. You know, officer, if you're going to... I know you might not, but, I mean, you could. You could absolutely. If you're going to lane change, please lane change with your signals. And please don't drive over the solid white line of the median because you missed your exit. You little bitch. Go fuck yourself. He would have arrested me or someone else or pulled us over if we had done the same thing in his presence. He can go eat a bag of dicks. And the officer is a she can eat my bag of dicks. Is that harassment? Harassment's a very specific action and legal term. This is the topic. Fuck the police straight from the other. Yeah. But yeah, Texas drivers. This is an opinion piece from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. People will be responsible without yearly car inspections. Have you driven in Texas? That's the opinion. I agree with the question at the end. However, I also have to say I don't like the government forcing inspections down our throats when the car very clearly functions, because we're going to either break down our car despite an inspection or not. It's not like there aren't places that'll just give you an inspection pass paper if you pay high enough. Are you really making an argument against vehicle inspection based on how someone drives? You clearly have never driven to New Mexico. I'm not driving it. I'm not making an argument against... Wait, what? James Jotes, this is not my opinion. This is an opinion from fucking Star-Telegram. I'm just reading it. I thought it would be funny to read. I have a thing against inspections because I have a thing against government being the determining factor on whether or not I get to drive to work. They can give me the license. Sure, they have the power. It's not a right to drive. However, if they give me the license, they should only have the power to do that. I don't think that they should have the power to dictate how my vehicle operates and how safe it is, because it doesn't matter how safe the vehicle is. If it fucks up at a critical moment, despite an inspection, it fucks up at a critical moment. And then, not only that, Texas drivers are fucking assholes and will kill you at a moment's notice if they're just looking at their phone or being retarded that time. I'm not against inspections because of driving conduct. I'm against inspections because fuck the government. That is why I'm against it. This is an article saying that people should have car inspections every year because people drive stupid in Texas. I have no doubt that New Mexico drivers are as retarded and stupid and insane as the ones in Texas, if not worse. I'm just saying this is a topic relating to me because I live in Texas, in North Texas specifically. They're all faggots. And this isn't even like a thing that is implicated on a bill. This is on May 25th, 11A. Texas can safely drop yearly car inspections. I'm gonna find this article and read it before I read this article. That felt good to get off my chest. I'm so happy I got to talk about that. Oh? A bill to eliminate annual vehicle safety inspections can't come 2025 is headed to Texas governor. Lawmakers approved a What was the original bill? I'm suddenly very curious. Dude, this is a bill? Oh my god. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Load, 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 load. Fucking paywall. Texas government should have just gotten rid of it. They really should have. Yearly car inspections are gay. A car will function despite the inspection and will dysfunction despite an inspection. Oh my god, this bill, what is this? Texas bill eliminating eliminate yearly car inspections. Texas House Bill 3279 or 97. There we go. Man, I really wish they would have gone with the actual version of the bill that was suggested. Man, oh man. Oh, wait till my boss hears about this one. Oh, we only got 2 years before this thing takes effect. Yeah, it's sent to governor. So Senate committee. Each amount described from the portion of fee collected for inspection of vehicles other than mopeds and remitted to the state as a condition of the obtaining a passing inspection report issued under Chapter 558 Transport Code, motor vehicle registered in the state. Portion of fee that is not authorized to be retained in an inspection station must be collected. Oh man, but the inspection agencies are going to get a little, yeah. Can verify is driven an average of less than 5,000 miles each year. Semi-trailers are pulled. Trailer having an actual gross weight registered. Subject to any applicable inspection requirement, including compliance with motor vehicle emissions inspection. Safety belts required. Front safety belt if safety belt anchorage were parts of the manufacturer, or for motor vehicle if that is an assembled vehicle. Compulsory inspection. Vehicle inspection report means blah blah. Has passed an inspection. Has passed an inspection of safety and if applicable emissions inspection. Like this bill says, it would have removed it entirely. However, I think this is the amended version of it. Here's. Relating to the elimination of regular mandatory vehicle safety inspections for non-commercial vehicles and the imposition of replacement fees. Man. All right, so back to the article because this one's a little rough to go through. And to be honest, I'm not really feeling it. I saw it as like, oh, I like this. So back to letters to the editor from our readers. In its editorial on eliminating car safety inspections, May 25th, 11A, Texas can safely drop your yearly car inspections. The Star-Telegram editorial board writes, personal responsibility will be crucial, though. That's the reason for my strong skepticism. This is titled, Responsibility on Texas Roads? Ha! There are too many irresponsible drivers on the streets today. We know them as the ones who litter our highways, dodge in and out of our lanes, speed on even icy or wet roads, and secure bogus inspection stickers. That's why it doesn't matter. If they can secure a bogus inspection sticker, it really doesn't matter if they get an inspection or not. You defeat your own opinionated argument within your first opinion. Actually, it's not even an opinion, it's a statement of fact. The majority of drivers will likely act responsibly, but it will only take a very few irresponsible drivers to cause death on our roads. Wow, it's almost like operating a really fast-moving heavy vehicle or heavy object will cause death if someone irresponsibly utilizes it. They don't know how to work. I've been an employer in Fort Worth for more than 34 years, and it's so disturbing to see the state of today's young labor market. Most young job seekers we see do not even know how to complete an application, much less have a resume. Are the schools not teaching them how to create a resume? If you're gonna criticize the education system, criticize the education system. Don't go, oh, but they don't know how to drive. Driver's inspections, you faggot. This is Keith Clem of Fort Worth, I should say. This isn't like this isn't any particular editor. So many are not thinking about their long-term careers and want to work only certain days and restricted hours. What has made... This is a complaint! Alright, so Thomas Lupinacci... Yeah, so it only takes a very few. So Thomas Lupinacci from Arlington had that first opinion. They don't know how to work is the opinion of Keith Clem from Fort Worth. What has made... But that doesn't apply to driving. What? Democrats should do the same thing. Paul Waldman wrote a good piece on the wasteful probes that seem to be required in Washington when control of the House changes. May 24th, 9-8, House GOP probes are joke, but don't count on them, but don't count them out. However, it must pain them immensely to not mention how both parties are guilty of this. Had he just made a one-sentence effort to provide a caveat indicating the glaring truth that both parties do the same thing when they're in power, his commentary could have been taken a little more seriously. GOP probes are the only way for the public to see that some of the holier-than-thou unethical transgressions on the Democrats' gleed Stephen Ryle Grant. That has nothing to do with cars and driving and inspections. I got all riled up because I thought there was going to be a full-ass opinion piece on this thing. And it turns out that there wasn't. It was just one letter from one guy named Thomas Lupinacci in fucking Arlington putting his gay-ass opinion about, my drivers are not responsible. It takes one. Yeah, it takes one idiot in a car to kill a bunch of people because an idiot with a car is still dangerous. Just like it takes one idiot with a gun to kill a bunch of people because a gun is dangerous. I got all riled up for this topic. And I got blue balled. Alright, I'm gonna fucking find this topic. I will not be cut out of an opinion. They had me. They had me by the balls for an opinion that I was gonna get to read, and then they let go, and then they didn't give me an opinion. They blue-balled me, man. Texas Star Telegram. Alright, cool. We're going back. You motherfuckers! Paywalled. Texas Star Telegram can suck my fucking balls. Car scoops. Let's go with Houston Chronicles. I am fucking animated today. Don't even worry about it. That is an unfortunate looking motherfucker, I'll tell you what. He is a sad looking guy. I am so damn sorry, man. Doug, Doug Begley, I am so damn sorry. I don't mean to go at you like this, but it's just. Oh, fuck me. That is hilarious. Don't you fucking paywall me either. Ah, fuck. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Reject the paywall. Reject it! Just enough time. All right. Let's pull up. I'm gonna pull up a notepad and pretend that we're reading the article through the paywall. I'm a dick. I realize I'm kind of a fucking dick. All right. So, a bill eliminating annual Texas vehicle safety inspections heads to Governor Greg Abbott's desk. All right. Texas legislatures have approved a bill to eliminate annual vehicle safety inspections, meaning automated registration renewals would never again be contingent on the state or motorist windshield wipers or fuel caps. The Texas Senate passed HB 3297, authored by State Representative Cody Harris, a Republican in Palestine. On Sunday. The bill just needs Governor Greg Abbott's signature to eliminate the safety inspections for non-commercial vehicles in Texas. Abbott's office did not respond to a request for comment. To offset any oh, okay. To offset any blow to state finances, or proposal replaces the $750 state inspection fee with a fee paid with the vehicle's registration. Drivers would save the $7, cut that inspection stations pocketed. The new law would take effect 2025 after the Senate delayed it from September 1st, ushering the biggest change in vehicle registration since the state's officials linked registration and annual inspections to a single sticker placed on the windshield of Texas cars and trucks in 2015. The state has 22 million registered vehicles. The legislation touches more Texans nearly anything than nearly anything that'll come out of the legislature. Former GOP State Senator Don Huffins of Dallas said in a social media post, "Not up to the test. Texas lawmakers attempt to end annual inspections, keep hitting roadblocks. Nixing the safety check, however, does not end emissions testing, which is required for all vehicles in 17 counties, including most of Houston, Dallas metro areas, Austin, and El Paso. Nearly 17 million people, more than half the state's population, live in those counties. Conservatives who for years have said Texas does not need safety inspections as most states have eliminated them and called the requirements government overreach, cheered the decision. I would cheer the decision if they had just, voted for the bill as it was. For residents in 237 counties, it eliminates a rite of passage, literally and figuratively. When registering a vehicle as a part of the safety inspection overseen by Texas Department of Public Safety, a mechanic certified by the state verifies several features from the vehicle's brake lights and turn signals to the condition of its windshield wipers and sealing capability of its gas cap. Under current state law, a vehicle must pass safety inspection to be registered in Texas. Kerfluffle. That's funny. They could have typed it with 3 Ks, though. Planners, developers split on driveways of... Oh, wait. Okay. That's just a advertised article. Mechanics and other opposed to eliminating the inspection, saying it would lead to potentially dangerous situations on Texas roadways, but more cars do not receive proper once-over and even more pollution from poorly maintained vehicles. If the bill passes, we will see an escalation of vehicles on our roadways that cannot pass a basic safety inspection. Chaplain? Corporal? Mike Branburn of Travis County Constable. Yeah, Corporal. Precinct 3 Clean Air Task Force. Hey, Travis Mike Bradburn, go fuck yourself. You're in a fake task force. Clean Air Task Force? How about you brush your teeth, you motherfucker? He's a constable. He has no authority. I have firm, aggressive opinions, I feel like. If a vehicle cannot pass a basic safety inspection, it would be reasonable to believe it would not pass an emissions test, leading to more pollutants in the air. Well, that sucks to suck, Constable. Oh, now I get hit with the ad. With the paywall. Eliminates text list, yeah. Oh, you gotta be dicking me here. I have to say, that was probably the most ingenious line I have ever said. Alright, so I'll read from the notepad, because I was basically at the end of it anyway. Studies of states that have stopped safety checks on vehicles, however, show little impact on overall road safety. After federal rules allowed states to lift inspections in 1970s, most stopped doing in-person examinations, preferring that police to use their discretion to assess the vehicle during a traffic stop. If they suspect a problem, only 13 states still conduct annual inspections. Still, those involved in conducting the inspections and selling cars and trucks have supported continuing them. Auto dealers said they're valuable, so owners know about important recalls, which are often tied to the state's vehicle database. There's also a storm going on, so maybe I'll have some, or lightning in the background, so maybe I'll get kicked off the internet. I don't care. I'll be fine. After. Go see outside like that weather. Who's Corporal Mike Bradburn? Travis County. Travis County Constable. Oh my god. All right. Hold on, I'm typing something. All right. So, back to it. Sorry. I had to share that. I'm impulsive and stupid. I think we're on our last Texas article for the day. And that will lead into the last topic for the day because I like to talk about stupid shit. The show is mostly about Texas, but you know. I still cannot. God. That was a perfect statement, though. Fort Worth Representative Geren named one of the House managers for Paxton's impeachment trial. Charlie Geren is, in fact, a part of the General Investigation Committee. Andrew Murr, Republican for Junction, Texas, delivered the articles of impeachment to Secretary of the Senate. The Texas Senate agreed Monday to start its trial of impeachment. Attorney General Paxton no later than August 28th, shortly after the House named 12 members to prosecute the case. The flurry of activity came on the last day of the regular legislative session, and 2 days after it voted overwhelmingly to impeach Paxton, alleging a years-long pattern of misconduct and wrongdoing. Paxton has blasted the impeachment as a politically motivated sham and expressed hope that the Senate will swiftly clear his name. On Monday evening, the Senate unanimously adopted a resolution that laid out an initial timeline for the next steps. The Senate appointed a 7-member committee that will prepare recommendations on the rules and procedures for the trial, then present them to the full Senate on June 8th, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick can pick a date not later than August 28th, on which the chamber will convene as a court of impeachment. A two-thirds vote is required in the Senate to remove Paxton from office. Earlier Monday, the House announced a Republican majority board of managers to handle the prosecution, made up of 7 Republicans and 5 Democrats. The group immediately left the House chamber to deliver the 20 articles of impeachment to the Senate. We will manage this process with the weight and reference that it deserves and requires, State Representative Andrew Murr, a Junction Republican and a chair of the Board of Impeachment Managers, said Monday at a news conference. This is about facts and the evidence. It's not about politics. Joining Murr in leading the Board of Managers is Representative Ann Johnson, Democrat from Houston. That's the only woman on the General Investigation Committee. Vice Chair Murr and Johnson are also the chair and vice chair of the General House Investigation Committee, which investigated Paxton and recommended his impeachment. The other 10 managers are Republican Charlie Geren, a Republican Fort Worth, he is the manager of my area. Joe Moody, a Democrat from El Paso. Terry Canales, Democrat, Edinburgh. Jeff Lech, Republican in Plano. Oscar Longoria, Democrat in Mission. Oscar Longoria is a part of the member of the General Investigation Committee. Morgan Meyer, Republican University Park. Briscoe Kane, a Republican in Deer Park. Cody Vassett, Republican in Angleton. David Spiller, a Republican in Jacksboro. Also, the last member of the General Investigation Committee. And Aaron Gamez, Democrat from Brownsville. As for the Senate panel that will make recommendations on rules and procedures, it will be required by Senator Brian Birdwell. It would have been funny if his name was Brain Birdwell. A representative, Republican for Granbury. Its vice chair, Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa, Democrat for McAllen. The other 5 members of Senate are Senator Brandon Creighton, Republican Conroe, P. Flores, Republican Pleasanton, Joan Huffman, Republican Houston, Phil Wing, Republican Weatherford, and Royce West, Democrat Dallas. During his news conference, Murr said trial will feature witnesses testifying under oath who will be subject to questioning from the House managers and Paxton's defense team. We understand it's a very deliberative process and will be handled in a thoughtful way to ensure that all parties are prepared for trial, Murr said. The managers were named after House adopted a resolution creating the board by a vote of 136 to 40. In introducing the resolution, Murr said it's similar to the one used in 1975 after the impeachment of a state district judge, O.P. Carrillo. The resolution, Murr said, authorizes the employment of a board of managers so they can employ the presentation of the trial in the Senate. The vote to impeach Paxton on Saturday was an overwhelming and bipartisan, with 121 of the 149 members supporting the impeachment. Almost as many Republicans as Democrats voted to impeach Paxton. What's up? Yeah. House Speaker Dade Phelan, a Republican for Beaumont, was among those who voted to impeach Paxton. I feel like he shouldn't have been the one to vote because he had Paxton was like, hey, fuck this guy. And he's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'll vote to impeach him. He briefly addressed the impeachment earlier in the morning, saying from the dais that the impeachment was necessary and just. I would feel that he would say that, considering that the guy that he impeached called him a drunkard on the floor of the House. On Sunday, the Dallas Morning News reported that the Office of Attorney Generals had delivered the documents to Senator's office that outlined Paxton's defense. That packet included a letter signed by Brent Webster, the first Assistant Attorney General who's taken over Paxton's duty while he is suspended from office. Johnson likened the delivery of the packet to attempting to interfere with trial. The packet including letters signed by Brent Webster. Who's Johnson? We expect that this committee has been fully engaged in the process with the highest level of integrity, that the individuals on the other side would realize dropping a binder on your potential jurors could be considered tampering or attempting to interfere with a lawful process, Johnson said. Adding that she had... Oh, Johnson's the lady. Mrs. Johnson. What? Johnson said, adding that she appreciated the statements from Patrick and several senators saying that they understood their duties in this process and honoring their sworn oaths. Oath of office. Office. Now would be the time in which I would probably start. Jessica Reloaded, how you doing, lady? Jessica. I have... Okay, I'm gonna interrupt my flow here. Do you live in Texas? Do you have any idea about the Texas dealings, or are you in another state? Just out of curiosity. But yeah, my normal flow here would be to go to an ad read here in California. Do you still do... Does your state do inspections, yearly annual inspections for cars to get them approved to register to drive on streets? I bet they do. I have a feeling that your state would still do that because of the emissions process, because they're all about that they're all about that clean air stuff. Smog checks. Well, I mean, that's only part of it. Like, in Texas, an annual inspection also includes emissions, but it also is like window wipers, gas caps, and whatnot. Does your state still require this? I guess I could just look it up. States that... That's only if your car is 10 years old, so I believe... I don't know, I've never had to. Oh man, that would be nice in Texas. In Texas, we have to submit yearly an inspection for the state to approve of the registration of a car. We have to go and get it checked out by a guy of either a state certified, so either state approved or the state itself must check the car and certify it for it to drive. It is so damn annoying. I got my inspection letter today. I'm being told I received... Oh, how apropos that letter. So I received in the mail that my inspection is due in 2 months. So I gotta go get my car inspected in 2 months. The inspections should be ended in like 2025 rather, because it's getting handed to the governor to sign. It's fantastic. An elimination of yearly and I say yearly annual. annual inspections is great. I am so happy about it because unsafe drivers are going to be unsafe whether they're in a good vehicle or a bad vehicle. So a constable in Texas, in a precinct, in a task force, had an opinion basically going, oh no, this is bad. They need to keep this up or otherwise there's going to be uncleanness in the air. They're going to add more pollutants. This constable, Mike Bradburn, is in the Clean Air Task Force. And I replied more to myself, because of course he's not going to see this. Something to the effect of, fuck you, Mike Bradburn. You work for a fake task force for a fake cause. If you want clean air, how about you brush your fucking teeth? Because I was in a mood. I was in a state of mind. Oh. Huh? What? Thank you. Huh? But yeah, I ripped into a constable because I felt like I wanted to. I had a lot of fun with that. That was great. But yeah, fun stuff. Nice seeing you, Jessica. But normally I'd go into an ad arena with Dragon's Treasure. However, I'm basically like out of topics. I just got this Ugandan law thing in the US, how it's going to do anything. So I'm going to do all those, and then I'm going to wrap up the show with an ad read. I just need to get back the Ted Cruz tweet I was on. Where are you? There we go. Yeah, Jessica, I'm coming to Matsuri. Oh yeah, real quick. This was a super chat. I was frustrated because it kind of got annoyed. What kind of cookies do you like? On my way to Houston, I crossed a thing called the Collins Street Bakery. I'm buying cookies for everyone. I'm saving up money to buy cookies for everyone at Matsuri. So you better tell me what cookies you like, or I'm picking a cookie flavor for you. I'm gonna probably tweet out that quote because I felt so good about that. I felt so fucking good about it, man. U.S. to consider visa restrictions over Uganda anti-gay law. Oh boy, why would why does the US think that it can influence another country's ability to make its own fucking laws? Chocolate chip cookies? How many do you want? They're like a couple cents a cookie, so you can buy a bunch of them. I'm probably gonna get individualized bags so I can write out names and label them separately. You don't know how to spell these names a lot. These are new names for you. You motherfucker. It's a thing of cookies in a bag. It's gonna get it's gonna write like chicken scratch regardless because it's lumpy stuff on a thing. It's not a flat piece of paper. I meant it for everyone. It's like, oh, no one has a cookie idea. I'm gonna have to like get a mindset to tell me what kind of cookie Jeff likes, because Jessica, you're going to be in Matsuri. You're going to be in the middle of sweat and walking like 15,000 steps a day if you go between certain events. Are you sure one cookie's gonna be enough? I know you're trying to not eat too many sweets, but like You're gonna burn that within like the half hour, I promise. I checked my steps while I was there last year. But alright, if you only want one chocolate chip cookie, I'll make sure to get that for you. So Secretary of State Antony Blinken says legislation which includes the death penalty for some offenses is deeply troubling. Will this have... I want to see this law. AlJazeera.com. Oh my god, I don't eat a lot in general. So lucky. You're lucky if I eat a whole meal. Oh. Picky eater or just like not small stomach? I can find out what Jeff likes and DM you if you want. Yes, please. I was trying to ask him and it's like, I forget whenever I realize I have his attention. It's like, and then I realized later, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I just waste that time? I've been wanting to figure out what kind of cookies he likes. No. No cookies. Cookie preference. The new legislation is one of the world's strictest anti-gay measures and was condemned by international community. Who fucking cares? Unpopular opinion, but states and countries should be able to make their own laws without approval of the world community. Because fuck the world community. Not picky, just never hungry. Well, my doctor gets mad because my vitamin levels get super low. You're the opposite of that one coworker Nick had who would eat even when she wasn't hungry because it was lunchtime and she ate on a scheduled time regardless of how many calories. You need to like get multivitamins at the very least. Like, you don't need to eat a meal, you just need like this. I only eat a meal of like rice cakes and homemade burger sandwiches. Man, I have learned to love to cook for myself. It's kind of cathartic whenever I'm making the burger patty and I can just shape it and cook it and then make the sandwich. Then I come in here and I eat and I cannot get enough of it. The people of Uganda have spoken, and it's now your duty to enforce the law in a fair and steadfast and firm manner. Same-sex relationships are already illegal in Uganda, as they are in more than 30 African countries, but the new law goes much further in targeting lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. It imposes capital punishment for some behaviors, including having gay sex with HIV positive, and stipulates a 20-year sentence for promoting homosexuality. The approval of the law comes in defiance of criticisms from Western governments, businesses, and human rights activists. Museveni's office said the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 was among 6 pieces of legislation the president signed into law on Sunday. Lawmakers passed a new draft of the legislation earlier this month, vowing to resist what they said was outside interference in their efforts to protect Uganda's values from Western immorality. The amended version said that identifying as gay would not be criminalized, but engaging in acts of homosexuality would be an offense punishable with life imprisonment. Cause that might go a little further. That might go a little further than might be okay, but like, Like, what are acts of homosexuality? How do they define it? Human rights activist Pepe Julian Onziema told Al Jazeera from Kampala that he is horrified for himself, for the community, and for human rights in the country. Guess. Oh, wait. Oh. This act is a repeat of legislation that already exists. Only this one takes it a notch higher in legalizing hate, homophobia, transphobia, and alienating section of Uganda's citizenry. So that worries me on many levels, Onziema said. I mean, if it takes it a step higher, it's not a repeat. It's an advance of the already existing legislation. This makes the already existing fear worse, he added. It has triggered a lot of traumas of many LGBTIQ members who face violence even before the law and the whole passing of this law. There's already been violence. This has already caused a lot of paranoia and fear of people reliving traumas of what this could mean. Tragic violation of universal human rights. Joe Biden called for immediate repeal of the law, slamming it as tragic violation of universal human rights and threatening to cut aid and investment to the East African country. We should have cut that aid regardless. They don't need our money, and they can rule themselves. They could just be on their own. We can be non-aggressive with them. They can be non-aggressive with us. As long as none of our people get hurt by them, I'm cool with it. We do not need to police other countries. Joe Biden, I agree with cutting the aid. I do not agree with you wanting to make them capitulate with your ideas of law. Fuck you, Biden. European Foreign Police Chief Josep Borrell said that the measure goes against international human rights laws and will impact the country's ties with its global partners. This law is contrary to international human rights law and to Uganda's obligation under the African Charter on Human People's Rights, and including commitments on dignity and non-discrimination and the prohibition of cruel, inhuman, or degrading punishment, Borrell said in a statement. The Ugandan government has an obligation to protect all of its citizens and uphold their basic rights. Failure to do so will undermine relationships with international partners, he said. The United Kingdom's government said it was appalled, adding that it is firmly opposed to the death penalty in all circumstances. This legislation undermines the protections and freedoms of all Ugandans enshrined in the Ugandan Constitution, Andrew Mitchell, a minister in the UK's Foreign Office Department, said in a statement. It will increase the risk of violence, discrimination, and persecution, and will set back the fight against HIV and AIDS, and will damage Uganda's international reputation, he added, describing the law as deeply discriminatory. As a man who is frustrated with the importance of the United States' international reputation and how the different countries view and have opinions on the United States, I have to say, this guy, Andrew Mitchell, can suck a bag of LGBTQIQ dick if he wants to. Who fucking cares about international reputation when the international reputation cannot save you from invading forces? Where's his international reputation to save Ukraine from Russia because they like them? How does this affect Russia in their fight? Sure, they can provide some aid here and there, but how does it ultimately affect the fight? This international reputation is a currency that can't be cashed anywhere. Why does it matter? If Uganda's international reputation, and in turn the United States international relationship, could be cashed with favors, I guess you could say they could pass laws or international measures with this reputation. But where does the real currency come into play here? Can't, if this currency, this international reputation, if this could, I don't know, increase the value of the dollar, decrease the value of the dollar, US dollar, increase euros. I'm just saying, the international reputation isn't much shit if it can't be cashed for anything. And sure, I might be thinking in the short term, but in the long term, I guess unless we're all in the international union, in which if one person gets hit, everyone gets hit, and then they turn on the one person that's doing the hit, sure, I could probably see that being a value. However, the United States is a superpower. We fight the wars, even for them. Why do we care about their fighting capabilities? They haven't been able to put a fight since, well, World War II. We could crush them in an instant. Of course, they got nukes, we got nukes, so no one's gonna really do much. And Uganda's in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, I would say. Who cares? Andrew Mitchell can suck a bag of dicks. Anybody who puts values into this international reputation, the reputation of a country, can suck a dick and sit on a pike. Museveni previously advised legislatures last week to look into the issue of rehabilitation, makes changes to the bill. In a letter to the Parliament of Uganda in April, he said it needed to be clear and distinguish between someone who professes a homosexual lifestyle and someone who actually commits homosexual acts. That proposed law should be clear so that what is thought to be criminalized is not the state one of having deviant proclivities, but rather the actions of one acting on the deviancy. Museveni wrote in a letter. That's a fair rehabilitation of the law. I would say that's fair. It would be fine. But the people get the votes. And this is the problem of living in a democracy. If they want to vote, the majority want to vote in this favor, I guess they have a republic, because if it's a president and they're not individually voting, then it's a republic. However, this democratic approach to the republic is probably what caused this. In which case, you have an example of democracy failing where a republic would be favorable. What? Oh, rip. The bill should be reviewed and include a provision that clearly states a person who is believed or alleged or suspected of being homosexual who has not committed a sexual act with another person of the same sex does not commit an offense. That is fair language. A less restrictive 2014 anti-LGBTQ law was stricken down by a domestic court on procedural grounds after Western governments had initially suspended some aid-imposed visa restrictions and curtailed security cooperation. Uganda receives billions of dollars in foreign aid each year and could face another round of sanctions. Not to toot my own horn, because I felt pretty proud about that little rant just now. I had two pretty good ones. Oh man, I'm getting spicy. This channel has changed me. This channel has done irreparable harm to my state of mind and capacity. Oh man. I now speak my mind in more ways than I had originally thought. And I thought about things in a more articulated way than I had thought. Security Secretary of State Anthony. That was another article. That wasn't even the U.S. restriction article. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says the United States may consider restricting visas for some Ugandan officials after the country adopted one of the world's toughest anti-LGBTQ laws. I guess the only value of an international reputation is when your international reputation currency goes into the deficit. In which case, having a law in which the international community decides, nah, we don't like this, will have an impact when the international community decides, yeah, you know what, this law that we don't like will put you in the deficit of your international reputation currency. So how about you rectify that and start appeasing our desires before we so we can put you back into the black. Blinken said the U.S. was deeply troubled by Uganda's Anti-Homosexuality Act, which was signed by President Yoweri Museveni on Monday. While same-sex relationships were already illegal in Uganda, the new law imposes a capital punishment for some behaviors, including aggravated homosexuality. I hate to laugh. But aggravated homosexuality is the funniest thing I've ever read. Oh fuck, my head's gonna go light. I'm gonna fucking collapse in my chair. Oh my god. Oh. This is what vertigo feels like. My brother in Christ. I'm gonna collapse. And 20 years in prison for promoting homosexuality. Museveni had previously urged lawmakers to delete the provisions on aggravated homosexuality. Hey, Mr. Poopy Butthole, South Anarchist, if you're still in the chat, according to you, I would be charged with aggravated homosexuality in Uganda. I just want you to know that. Oh god, my ears are ringing. U.S. President Joe Biden quickly condemned the law as a tragic violation of universal human rights and threatened to cut aid and investment to East Africa country. I need to ask locals. Have you guys heard of aggravated homosexuality before? He urged Uganda to repeal the measure. I mean, the president could have pocket vetoed it. I think that might be a thing. He didn't have to sign it, I don't think. In a statement later on Monday, Blinken said the U.S. would consider deploying existing visa restriction tools against Ugandan officials and other individuals for abuse of universal human rights, including the human rights of LGBTQI+ persons. State Department guidance for U.S. citizens and business on travel to Uganda was also being updated, while Washington would help develop mechanisms to support rights of alphabet individuals in Uganda to promote accountability for Ugandan officials and other individuals responsible for or complicit in abusing their human rights, he added. A rights group announced later Monday that it had filed a legal challenge to Ugandan's High Court, arguing that the legislation was blatantly unconstitutional. By criminalizing what we call consensual same-sex activity among adults, it goes against key provisions of the Constitution, including rights on equality and non-discrimination, said Adrian Juco, Executive Director of Human Rights Awareness and Promotional Forum. The European Union, United Kingdom's UNAIDS, the United Nations AIDS. The Global Fund, human rights groups, and LGBTQ organization also expressed their shock at the adoption of the law. UNAIDS noted that Uganda and President Museveni had been at the forefront of the campaigns to end AIDS based on principles of access to health care for all. The new law had put that response in grave jeopardy, UNAIDS said in a joint statement. With the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, Global Fund, and the U.S. President's emergency plans for AIDS and relief. Trust, confidentiality, and stigma-free engagement are essential for anyone seeking health care. The statement said LGBTQI people in Uganda increasingly fear for their safety and security against an increasing numbers of people are being discouraged from seeking vital health services for fear of attack, punishment, and further marginalization. Over the less restrictive 2014 anti-LGBTQ law was stricken down by domestic court on procedural grounds after Western government had initially suspended some aids, imposed visa restrictions, and limited security cooperations. Uganda receives billions of dollars. Yeah, we read this before. Uganda's failure to safeguard the human rights of LGBTQI persons is part of the broader degradation of human rights protection that puts Ugandan citizens at risk and damages the country's reputation as a destination for investment, development, tourism, and refugees, Blinken said. All of this, to wit, I reply, why the fuck does the US care? Seriously, what benefits the US in picking on Uganda over its laws? If it turns out to be unconstitutional, the court should decide for itself the constitutionality of its own law. We shouldn't be applying pressure to Uganda. We shouldn't be threatening them with billions of dollars of billion-dollar retraction just because we don't like their policies. What are we, the United States of America or the United Dictators of America? Fuck off, America. That's their policy. We write our own laws and violate our own human rights without them interfering. The United Nations has never once stepped in to go, America, your voting rights suck. They violate your people's rights. Your gun laws are violating the human rights of your people. They've never once stepped in to protect us from our own government. Why should we step in to protect Uganda? Is it because we're the bigger party? Are we the bigger person? No, we're just the person with the most power. Fuck the US. Fuck its interference with other countries. If the United States and any House members for the United States federal government had any backbone, these foreign aids, if it's not an executive branch power, they should keep funding the Ugandan people. If they're getting $1 billion of investment from the government, the backbone of the U.S. to stand up for their government powers, their sovereignty, a sovereignty which we should be respecting because we are our own sovereignties who put into power, put into policies, stuff who disrespect our own citizens' rights. We should at least have the backbone to stand up for them when they do it while we do it ourselves. This is a call to the U.S. Senate and to the U.S. House. If anyone happens to see this, do not vote against the Ugandan investment bills. If you have the power, if this is a legislature problem, Do not vote against them. They violate their human rights. Let it be decided upon the Ugandan High Courts to decide if it violates the Constitution and their human rights. Because we do far worse to our own people than they do. This is just an act on a particular circumstance. Sure, it might be wrong. It might harm some of them. But like I said, we do worse to ourselves. And they can't decide to cut our funding. They don't fund us. But that's probably because they don't put money into our pockets that we wouldn't care. But we put money into their pockets, which means we have a direct positive influence to their processes. America, have a backbone. We care so much about the sovereignty of states. We care so much we're funding a Ukrainian war. How about we put some backbone and care about the sovereignty of Uganda? Go fuck yourselves. Put the moral posturing. God damn it. God, the legacy of Cain is so fucking quotable. Quit the moral posturing. We know this isn't an act of altruism. Once again, I get lightheaded. But with that said, that's the whole topic. That's all that I have for today. To highlight, I said a constable has stinky breath, and if you wanted clean air in his task force, he should probably brush his own teeth. And then calling out the United States government for its hypocrisies and moral and righteous indignation and moral posturing. Dude, it's so damn quotable. I'm sorry. I recently rewatched Legacy of Kain. I'm not through with it, but Soul Reaver 2 has so much to play because you have a person who acts like he's the most moral person and righteous person in the world, met by a guy who decided to be honest in his self-interest and selfishness. But yeah, like I said, fuck the US. Cut the crap. Be honest with your fucking power grabs. I feel so good after that. I gotta say, it feels great. I see why people shout in their streams. I get it. I like it. It's great. I need to wait for my page to reload, so I'm waiting. Because I got my final shill. So I'll do that before I wrap things up. And then I will try to say the outro without repeating myself about 2 times. I got a counter across the room who will judge me horrendously because of it. Alright, that's actually not the wrap-up. I said that, but that's not actually... Yes! Why are you gay? So this also comes with Ted Cruz, U.S. Senator, who has decided to put a foot down on this. This Uganda law is horrific and wrong. Any law criminalizing homosexuality or imposing death penalty for aggravated homosexuality is grotesque and an abomination. All civilized nations should join together in condemning this human right abuse. While I'll agree, despite how funny aggravated homosexuality is, the death penalty for it is wrong. But like I said before, we do far worse to our own people on a day-to-day basis. We can fuck right off. And they should be able to find for themselves that this is in fact an abomination grotesque. If they don't, oh well. The blacks have their own Jim Crow. I said, oh well. You know?
I don't want you being
Just like a general, like, what? With that said, the Dragon's Treasure will not discriminate for aggravated homosexuality and will still sell to you fantastic tasting tea. So use code Layman at the Dragon's Treasure, a place where you can buy tea and coffee, and it's a haven for anime and tea lovers. You can be gay, you can be straight, you can be LGBTIQ, you can be QIN, you can be NTR, you can be whatever. It doesn't matter. Be what you want. You can still buy the fantastic tasting tea of the Dragon's Treasure, and I've been drinking the Sebastian Morning Earl Grey. It tastes fantastic. Go fuck yourself. Use code Layman at checkout for 10% off of everything that you see on the front page. It does 10% off of everything. It's great. The Dragon's Wing membership, the 10% off. Lowest membership is $5, highest is 20, 10% off. It's a save, I promise. If you're gonna buy some tea, buy from the Dragon's Treasure. And remember to use code Layman. That's not the last time I'm gonna say it, because if I'm gonna repeat anything, it's the code that pays me. With that said, I'm done with the Dragon's Treasure. Remember, code Layman, 10% off. Gets you fantastic tasting tea and flavor with fantastic savings. God, that is the best motto came up with. With that said, that wraps up the show. I'm done with this because I am not gay. I'm not accused, or will I ever be accused of aggravated homosexuality. I'm not in Uganda. Thank God for me. But wait, Uganda, what about an aggravated bisexuality? How do you deal with that? What if the person you're accusing is accused of aggravated homosexuality, but they're like, oh, it's not homosexual, it's bisexual. See, I like this chick too. I like her tits. And I like this fat dick right here in front of me. What about it? No. I'm done with the Dragon's Treasure ad. I'm not done with the Ugandan topic. It is rife for comedy. Because we all know the best way to approach human rights violations is it is what it is. So, without all that said, I'm done with the show. I have no more topics. I might have a rant regardless. Still, doesn't matter. If you like this show, please like and subscribe on YouTube and on Rumble. It is the place you can find me. You can also find me on Twitter at legallayman.locals. No, wait, that's locals. At legallayman with 2 N's at the end of the at on Twitter. I should probably message Jessica Reloaded so she can get back to me if she find out what kind of things, what kind of cookies the Legal Vices likes. Jeff, I'm looking at you, Jeff. The best place to support me will be at legallayman.locals.com. I am on Locals. And you can find me on Back2.Buy, which is a blockchain version of Patreon. It cannot be canceled. It cannot be taken away from the banks. And the government cannot regulate it because they can suck my blockchain dick. So, legallayman.locals.com, Back2.Buy, like and subscribe on YouTube and on Rumble. The support means everything. I've been seeing great growth. I gained like 5 subscribers yesterday. I'm at 80 followers on Rumble, 103 on YouTube. It means the most to me that I can get this kind of growth. It means to me that I can actually make some money, even if it's pennies on a video. Hopefully those pennies will turn into dollars, and those dollars will turn into hundreds of dollars. and I can start living off this, because if you liked the rant about why are you gay in Uganda and bad breath Constable Mike Bradburn in Texas, please subscribe for more. With all that said, for the millionth time, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support. It means the most. I'll catch you guys on the replay, and I'll catch you